Hey guys, Dr. Wilkin, dermatology resident here. Today I'm so excited to do a dry skin makeup look for you all. I'm also going to be sharing my skin prep and discussing two topics. The first being how to layer skincare slash prep for dry skin, and one thing that surprised me about dermatology residency so far. So grab a coffee, grab a tea, get cozy, and follow along. I already did my skin prep this morning as I was getting ready, but what I used today was 5 different steps for dry skin. And I'm going to go through each of these and also discuss how to layer dry skin prep so that your makeup lasts all day and looks nice throughout the day. Some of you guys might have heard before how derms will recommend layering from thinnest to thickest, and generally I like to follow that principle too. And the first step I went in today was, no surprise, the CosRx Skin, the 6 Peptide Skin Booster. This product is so good for hydration. It is very watery. If you can see it here on the back of my hand, it just like drips down all the way. This product layers under makeup so well, and it also is just gonna give your skin a really nice hydrated appearance. And before I did that, of course, I did wash my face. I went ahead and used the CeraVe Hydrating Facial Cleanser. This one is so great for dry skin. If you're really dry, you don't necessarily have to use a cleanser in the morning. You can always just rinse your skin with water too, but I still recommend that you just rinse it a little bit with water because it'll just help get any of the debris off from the evening. So after I wash my face with that cleanser, I then, while my skin is still damp, went in straight away with this CosRx. And then I tapped it into my skin, and after that was done, I used a new product today, which is the Prequel Multi-Quench Plumping Hydration Serum. This one has polyglutamic acid, which is a really large molecule, and it's similar to hyaluronic acid. It just really helps to draw that water on your skin and just hold it there so that it can really give you that juicy, glassy skin look. And I actually do recommend polyglutamic acid if glass skin is what you're hoping to achieve with your skincare. This can be an ingredient that really helps temporarily give you that appearance throughout the day. And after using the polyglutamic acid serum, I went ahead and used my vitamin C for today, which was the Vanicream Vitamin C. And just to show you guys the Prequel consistency, it looks like this. So it's pretty runny, watery, and it so far today has hydrated my skin well. But yeah, polyglutamic acid, such a great ingredient if glass skin is what you're hoping to achieve. And then for my Vanicream, this vitamin C works so well under makeup. Just to show you guys the consistency, this is what it looks like. So it's a little bit thicker than that Prequel serum I went in with first. And then I'm gonna just rub that in too, rubs in really nicely. After using my serum, instead of using a really thick moisturizer, what I did was I used this Prequel half and half fluid moisturizer. It's like a milky toner too. This one is so good for under makeup. I think for anyone with dry skin, I really do recommend that you do these kind of like layers of hydration, building thin light layers that gradually get a little bit thicker, because that's really going to allow that moisture to be absorbed into your skin and to form a nice flat layer. After using this, I didn't go in with any actual like thick moisturizer. I found out for myself when I use thicker moisturizers in the morning, they tend to pill throughout the day, and I suspect it's just because maybe I've used too much and it wasn't able to be fully absorbed or dried down. But especially if you plan on wearing makeup, certainly thicker moisturizers, you can use them, but I just recommend using very tiny amounts before your makeup application, because if you use too much, it just won't dry down and absorb into your skin, and then your makeup won't be able to sit nicely on top, and instead everything is just gonna melt off of your skin. So after using this Prequel one, I went ahead and used my Elta MD UV Skin Recovery. This one is a mineral sunscreen, and I decided to go in with the mineral one today instead of a Korean one because I'm going to use a skin tint slash foundation that has some zinc oxide. So I just wanted to make sure that both of those were matching with my sunscreen and my foundation. Sometimes I will mix it up and use a Korean one underneath, but today I just wanted them to match. So this is what the Elta MD one looks like. This one, because it is a mineral sunscreen too, I recommend I just mixed it all at once, but instead of doing what I did, put it on the back of your hand, take a little bit, and then apply thin light layers to your face, let it dry down, and then apply more, etc., until you're fully done applying. And I did about 2 pumps of this Elta MD sunscreen for this morning. And then so that was all of my skin prep for today, and I really tried to tailor it for people who have dry skin. And I think that this type of routine or skin prep under makeup should work really well. If you end up giving it a try, leave a comment down below. I would love to know your thoughts on whether or not it worked for you, or even if it didn't, even that's really great feedback for me as well. So that was all of my skin prep for today. And so just to reiterate, light thin layers, that's really gonna help help people with dry skin be able to hold on to that moisture and then apply makeup on top and have it look nice throughout an entire day. And today's foundation, I'm really excited to share this one with you all. It's the CL Tint and Protect SPF 50. I use the shade light medium. It's just a tad dark for me right now, but it still works. And I think this foundation is so beautiful for people who have dry skin. It gives such a nice glowy look. It feels so hydrating. And I will say I lean oily, and so this foundation I do have to use just a little bit more powder than I typically do, and I would probably do my skin prep differently too for myself because I have oily skin if I was going to use this foundation. But if you're dry, even normal to dry, I think if you did the skin prep routine that I did or something similar to that and then use this foundation, it should still hold up beautifully for you. So I just put some on the back of my hand, not even a full like dropper's worth. I did just a little bit less than a full dropper's worth because I find that I don't have to use that much of this foundation. And then I'm gonna grab a flat foundation brush today, just feeling like doing this technique, and I'm gonna grab a little bit onto my brush. You could also mix in that half and half if you wanted. And I'm just gonna do thin light layers on my skin like this. And it spreads so beautifully and easily. I barely even have to work with the foundation brush. And then with my cushion puff that was clean, I'm gonna tap this foundation in. It blends so easily. I feel like I don't even have to do any work with this foundation. And I think this foundation too, it does have SPF 50 with zinc oxide 12%. I still recommend that you use a mineral sunscreen underneath this. I'm definitely not using enough skin tinted serum to get the SPF 50, just because if I were to use that amount, generally it just looks a little bit too heavy. So definitely still use a sunscreen underneath this. And I like to think about this sunscreen that I'm using right now as just extra protection. I would say too, this foundation is medium coverage. It's certainly buildable also, and it gives like a very dewy finish, I would say. And I'm using a flat foundation brush to apply it and then my cushion puff to blend it out. But I would suspect, I haven't tried it myself yet, but that you could apply this with your fingers too, just because it blends so easily and seamlessly into the skin. And then now that I've applied that base layer, I still have a little bit left. I'm just gonna apply a little bit to just areas where I want a little bit more coverage. And if you are someone who maybe has a lot of acne scars or active acne too, and you want to cover it up, instead of doing a lot of your foundation at once, go ahead and do light thin layers like I'm doing right now. It'll just help with giving you that coverage, but also help the final look and just make it look nice. I personally love wearing any tinted products that have iron oxides because I deal with post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation when I get like an acne mark or whatnot. And so it really helps my skin have a more smooth and even complexion throughout the entire year when I'm wearing a tinted product. So I'm all done with my foundation, you guys. This product, it's so good. I'm looking at my skin right now and it just has a nice glow from it. I think my skin tone has been evened out. I have a little bit more SPF that I've added to on top of my base layer sunscreen, and so I just feel ready to tackle my day after applying a product like this. And so moving on to my next product I would recommend for people who have dry skin would be concealer, and the one I'm going to recommend today is the Natasha HY Glam Concealer. I was looking through my different concealers, and I think this is the one I would say so far from the ones I've tried, I would recommend for dry skin. It is a serum also, and it just applies beautifully on the skin. I think today I'm just going to do a little swipe to show you guys. Generally, I do apply it on the back of my hand, but let's just apply it there for today, like this. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab my Sigma Large Shader E60 brush to blend this all out today. And then let's just start. I'm going to let areas where I want maybe a little bit more coverage, like under my eyes, to sit and marinate for a little bit. And then my other areas where I just want to blend it out more quickly, let's just start tapping it in. Yeah, this Natasha Denona concealer, it just seems to hydrate my skin really well. It doesn't accentuate my fine lines that I've noticed so far, and the coverage is pretty good too. Natasha Denona did a really great job with this concealer and with the matching foundation. Both are, I would recommend that foundation also for anyone who has dry skin. And then what I'm going to do next is grab my same cushion puff that I had used for that foundation. And then you start blending. This is going to help any like edges that might have formed. That being said, if it's gonna be like your wedding day or a really big event that you're going to and you really wanna make sure that you have no pilling in your makeup or anything, I would recommend instead of using that Ulta MD1 that I recommended, that you use a Korean sunscreen. So after concealer, I'm all nice and concealed now. We are gonna set the base makeup that we've done so far. And the setting powder I would recommend for anyone with dry skin is the Makeup by Mario Surreal Setting Powder. This one is so beautiful for any skin type, but especially for dry skin types. I think this one, Mario just did a great job in formulating it. And just going to, I don't have too much on my cap today, but I'm gonna dip it straight into what I have. And then on the cap, I'm just gonna swirl, tap off the excess. And then after I've done that, I'm gonna go ahead and just tap it nice and gently into the areas that I want to mattify. Swirl, tap, grabbed way too much, so going into my palm. I am going to be using cream, blush, and bronzer today, and because I'm going to be using more cream products, I am going to just put a light layer of powder right here where I'm going to place them. If you're really dry, you may want to skip this step, but for myself, I do like to place it there. Otherwise, I found for my skin that cream products can just tend to like migrate everywhere if I don't put like just a tiny bit of powder underneath and on top of it. Okay, base makeup is all set, and now that I'm done with this Makeup by Mario powder, I'm gonna stay within the Makeup by Mario family today and then reach for his Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. This one I hit pan on a while ago, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the Sigma F76 Chisel Cheek Brush, and in here I'm just gonna dip, and then on the back of my hand, let's just tap it in a little bit to see. Okay, wait, this one is so light and sheer. I've been getting any. Let me grab a little bit more. Yes. So here I'm just tapping with nice and the consistency I want. So I'm just gonna start kind of tapping and areas where I want it bronze. This one is so natural looking, so beautiful. If you really want like a no makeup look too for a certain day, like if you wanted to skip your foundation and your concealer like and just use this, I still think you could get that really beautiful natural look and glow. A little bit to the ears. What I want to do next is grab a small eyeshadow brush like this one. And I'm going to dip into that same bronzer, grab a little bit, and this is going to be my eyeshadow base. Here too. Grab my cushion puff one more time. And then I'm gonna grab that same fluffy brush that I had used to set my base makeup. And I'm gonna grab just a little bit more of that Makeup by Mario powder. Swirl, tap, and then go ahead and just set this eye. Like I said, if you are really dry, I would still recommend you set your eye at this step, but here on your cheek, you may not have to set it if you're really dry, but for me, I'm just gonna put a tiny bit because otherwise it is definitely gonna move on me. And then I did place a little bit down here, but you have to be really careful when you place products down here. I really tried to do a light hand today, but if you apply too much, it's gonna throw off your entire look. So if you decide to apply that bronzer or contour in this area, lower jaw, be very light with your application and just mindful how much you apply. So now that I'm all done with my bronzer, my next step is gonna be using a cream blush today. This one is the Makeup by Mario Barely Blushing. And my shade arrived broken. It was falling out of the package, but I just let Mario's team know nicely in an email and they sent me a brand new one. Yeah, their company I think is just really awesome in that way. I've also tried a few of their products where it didn't work for me and they accepted returns. I know a lot of makeup companies don't offer that, so I really appreciate that. So I just grabbed a brush, the Morphe 2 brush today, a fluffy one, and then I dipped into it. And then this one is so light, I'm not even gonna really put it on the back of my hand. I'm just gonna start tapping in the area that I want the blush. Yeah, this one I would say out of all of my blushes is like the most natural looking one. And when I first got this, to me, I was like, oh, it's like a very natural pink blush. But the more that I've now played around with other blushes, while it certainly is pink, it almost has a tiny hint of coral in it too. So I could be wrong with that, but to me, it looks a little bit like that. Love this one. It's so natural, so easy to use, and I think would be great for anyone who has dry skin. And so after my blush today, I think I want to move now into an eyeshadow. And I was thinking, what palette do I want to recommend for people who have dry skin? I decided today, because I'm using so many cream products, let's just stick with cream, and I'm gonna go ahead and use the L'Oreal eyeshadow stick. And the shade I'm using is 230 Magnetic Bronze, such a beautiful one. Does have like a tiny bit of shimmer, but it's very natural looking, I think. What I do is just along my like lower crease, I just did one swipe there. Here too, one swipe here. This one is just a little bit, I have a little bit more of a crease on the left side. So what I did was I just put a little bit more color there so that the two sides could be somewhat evenly matching. And then afterwards, I'm gonna grab the Sigma Diffuse Blend Brush, and then I'm just gonna blend this out. Like this. It's also tap. But many times too, once I blend this out, I don't even notice the shimmer. So this is the eyeshadow look, so easy. I just went and with that Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Skin Enhancer, which is like a bronzer, but a lot more natural looking. And I use that as my like base layer. And then I just put this one on top of it just to create a little bit more depth and dimension. And then now that I've done that, oh, I love how that looks. You could leave it like this. Actually, I leave it like this too many days, but today I think I just wanted to put a tiny bit of powder on it. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit more powder, swirl, tap off the excess, and then place it right on there. And the shade that I'm using today is shade 2, which is Neutral Light on the Makeup by Mario powder. And I'm also just gonna tiny bit of powder and see that cream blush that I had used. Okay, my next step is going to be to do my lips, and new to lip lining, but I've just been enjoying doing it on camera for you all. So I'm gonna line my lips today, and I'm using the Makeup by Mario Ultra Suede Sculpting Lip Pencil in Tan today. This one, it has the pencil on one end, and then on the other end, it has this like nice little brush that you can use to blend it out. So to my lips, I'm gonna draw lining on the inside for myself. But certainly you could overline if that's what you wanted. I think it's all about introducing more harmony to your face with makeup and playing around with it too. I think that's one of the reasons I love makeup, is that it is such a form of creative expression for many of us. And I think that whatever makes you happy doing your makeup, I think that's what you should do. Yeah, I just think makeup is so awesome in that way. Now that I've done lining my lips, I'm gonna go ahead and grab this recent favorite of mine that I bought a while ago and then tried it filming, and now I'm like in love with it. It's this e.l.f. Glow Reviver lip oil. I love anything that really hydrates my lips. My lips get dry really easily, especially because I talk a lot throughout the day. And so just gonna grab some in. So here's the look. What I'm gonna do next is show you guys a setting spray that I would recommend for people who have dry skin. It's this one size powder melt. I think today I applied a little bit too much powder in certain areas, and it is looking just a tiny bit on the cakey side in certain areas. And that can sometimes happen too if I'm not super meticulous with how much powder I've applied. And so this is like a get out of jail free card, in that it's gonna just melt away those areas where you've applied too much powder. That being said, if you're really oily, you might not like this because it's not really gonna lock in your makeup like other setting sprays will. But it is going to remove that powdery look and just make your skin look flawless. So shake it up, hold. I'm gonna grab my trusty fan. And then now that it's all nice and dry, I'm just gonna take a look. And I think it really did help with that cakey look in certain areas of my skin. For myself, because I do tend to get a little bit oily, I am gonna just do on my one size, a little bit of this, but if you're really dry, you could skip this or just do a tiny bit of this one size setting spray. This is gonna make your makeup budge proof, and it's gonna make your makeup so long lasting throughout the entire, especially if you're somebody who has to wear like masks at work and whatnot. It's really gonna just protect your skin and the makeup and skincare underneath. Alright you guys, that's the setting spray, and I do want to talk about my second question right now too, which was, what was one thing that surprised me about derm residency? And I feel so grateful to be in dermatology. I love what I get to do every day. When I was a medical student, I knew that I would have to study a lot in derm residency. It was just something that many of the residents that I worked with and the attendings that I worked with had told me. That's what derm residency is like, in that you do derm clinic, you get to do surgeries and all this cool stuff, but many times when you go home, you are going to spend a few hours every day studying, and a large portion of that is because we take these core exams throughout our residency that just require a lot of studying. And I knew that going into derm residency, but I think it was still a shock for me that the volume that we have to learn for our core board examinations. And I finished all of mine and passed all of mine. I feel grateful for that, but it was hard. It was a lot of minutia, and it was a lot of similar to step one studying. And when I took step one, it was graded. It hadn't changed yet to pass fail, and so it just reminded me a lot of that. And I think that surprised me a lot of derm residency, just the volume of studying that's required outside of clinic and hospital space, outside of like the studying you do to become a better dermatologist, like the clinical studying. You also just have to do a lot of the basic science studying, which was surprising to me. And talking about that, I do feel so grateful for my co-residents, because I did study groups with many of them, and they were really the reason why I was able to pass my core examinations, because just being on that strict schedule with them and every week learning with them, like whether it was dermatopathology or peds derm, med derm, whatnot, I think it really helped so much having such a great group of co-residents to study with and learn from. That was one thing that surprised me about derm residency. I thought I was done with the medical school volume of studying, but really it continued on into derm residency. And one thing that one of my mentors early on told me when I was in medical school was that, William, to become an extraordinary dermatologist is actually very difficult. And at the time, I didn't understand what they meant when they said that to me. But now I think the more I'm in dermatology and the more I progress along my training and in my career, the more I recognize how true that was, in that dermatology surprisingly can be really challenging to do an excellent job at, because so many rashes look similar, so many different conditions can have overlap, and many of the most dangerous and scary things that we encounter in dermatology, like a systemic vasculitis or a really bad drug eruption, can be really subtle when they first present, or even in the first few times they present. So I think those words have really resonated with me more and more as I progress along my training, and if anything, just makes me so grateful to do what I get to do, and even have the opportunity to study every day in the hopes of becoming a better clinician with each passing day. I'm gonna take out my clips and style my hair, and I'll be back. Oh my gosh, you guys, I just realized too, now that I'm like done filming, that I didn't do brows. I'm just gonna do brows really quickly right now. The brow product I'm gonna be using today is the L'Oreal 24-hour brow lamination. If you're really dry, you might prefer the Anastasia Beverly Hills clear brow gel more. And I'm just going to very roughly brush my brow hairs out. That's it. Okay, you guys, here's my final look for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I had so much fun getting to share my dry skin tips and tricks for how to get your skin prep nice and moisturized so that you can feel confident and amazing as you wear makeup throughout the entire day for a flawless look. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. What does your dry skin makeup routine look like? If you end up trying this, let me know your thoughts, whether you loved it, it was just okay, or even if you hated it. I love getting feedback on recommendations that I make, because I think it really only helps me give better recommendations moving forward, and I can't wait until I get to share more videos with you all. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you all next time. Bye.